I absolutely have a problem with it, Skip. And Pete Carroll, you're being disingenuous. You're not speaking the truth. You know where it was aimed. I didn't agree with what Earl Thomas said last week, Skip, because I don't believe you voiced. You might, and there have been guys that felt that way, but you don't voice that. I'm not practicing or I'm not doing this unless I'm 100% because I got to protect myself. And so I disagree with what he said last year. I even more disagree with this. I understand you're frustrated, and it's rightfully so, because the team, everything is weighted so heavily for the team, Jenny.
Yeah.
The franchise tag. A player signs a 5-year deal. He underperforms in year 2, year 3. They release the player. Ask Dez Bryant why he's sitting at home. Dez Bryant signed a 5-year contract. They cut him after the 3rd year. He has 2 years remaining. Oh, the team is doing what's in the best interest. Earl Thomas has outperformed that contract. But the team said, you signed the contract. Pro Football Focus, and we used a lot of their metrics, had Earl Thomas rated the best defender thus far this year. Better than Khalil Mack, better than DeMarcus Lawrence Taylor, better than J.J. Watt, better than Von Miller. The number 1 rated defensive player going into week 4 was Earl Thomas. And he wanted money. The only problem that I have with Earl, you got to make a decision. Either you're going to sit it down, which you should have done, because this should have been a 2-year process. You should have started thinking, man, I'm playing my tail off. I'm outperforming this contract. So I don't know if Earl's married, but if he's married, he goes to mom and says, look here, I know that house we were talking about getting, we're not going to do that. I'm telling mom and dad, there's nothing coming out. I'm telling my homeboys, my family, there'll be no money going out. I'm saving for this day. Okay. I'm going to put the pressure on the Seattle Seahawks. Either you're going to move me or you're going to give me a contract extension because I'm not coming in. That's what he should have done. But he feared this into existence. It's hard to play this game an entire season, Skip. You know, you covered it. It's hard to play it. With the style of football that he plays reckless. He plays with abandon. He's going after the football. And when you have big men flying around like that, things happen. Ligaments tear, legs break. So now where's Earl Thomas? I believe he's about to be 30. Suffered his 2nd broken leg in 3 years.
Same leg,
yep.
So now teams are looking like, hold on, bro. You're about to be 30. You suffered a broken leg twice in 3 years. And when you didn't get your way, you called the fit. You say, if you don't like the way situation's going, you're not going to practice if you have a headache. And now you're flipping people off. So I don't want that in my locker room. So he's done. Sometimes, Skip, a temporary lapse in judgment can cause a permanent stain on how people perceive you. Earl Thomas is not a bad guy. He was a guy that just frustrated. And you hear me say it all the time. You know, sometimes when emotion is high, logic is very, very low. And this was a situation. And probably if he had it to do over again, Skip, he would do it differently. But Pete Carroll, no. John Snyder, know exactly where that was coming from. That had nothing to do with his teammates.
That is correct.
And his teammates understand Earl. But I tell you what, Le'Veon Bell said, now y'all see what I'm talking about. Now you see why I won't see y'all until week 11.
That is true.
That's when I'm coming in. And he had a tweet out, shaking my head exactly. Get right, bro. He's sending this to Earl on Twitter.
Off of Bobby Wagner quote.
Off the Bobby Wagner's quote, I'll continue to be the bad guy for all of us.
Well, that's true. No, I'm with you. I disagree with your conclusion of this. I do want that guy in my locker room. And obviously at the end of my game yesterday in the early window, the Cowboy game, I was campaigning for Jerry Jones to swallow his pride and go close the deal for Earl Thomas that he tried to close maybe 2 weeks ago. And he offered a second. Now we hear that Seattle has come back to say, we'll take a second.
Right.
But when Jerry offered the second, Seattle said, April Fools, now we want a first. Yep. And you know how Jerry is. He's in the Hall of Fame. And you don't do that to Jerry Jones because his pride's going to get real sideways.
Exactly.
And once he gets sideways,
it's over.
The deal is off the table.
Yes.
So that's cutting off nose to spite face.
They probably, Skip, also asked for a first from the Cowboys because they really want to get him in the AFC.
Yep.
A talent like that.
And by the way, that was before Dallas was about to go to Seattle and play. So it's like, we're going to give you our guy.
Right.
And I'm with you. Nobody's playing safety any better. No, like you said, he's ranked at the top of defensive players right now. And I will agree with you. It wasn't the classiest move to shoot that at that in the neighborhood, toward your bench, but it wasn't toward the players. It was toward the organization. It was toward the team.
John Snyder, the guys that can control the person.
That is correct. And the reason I'm not going to condemn him for it is he was obviously devastated because he just broke the same leg that he broke before. Remember what he did the first time? He went on Twitter immediately and basically said, I'm done, right? He threatened to retire or sounded like he was leaning toward retirement because he didn't think he was ever going to come back and be the same player that he was before. And the thing that got me about this one, every time I see the play that broke his leg this time, it didn't look that threatening or it wasn't that dangerous, right? Yeah. He just bounced his bad leg, the one that was broken before, across the receiver, and it just snapped again. Well, here we go. You don't think that's a liability going forward, right?
That's the thing, Skip. They're looking at him like, hold on, this is the second time you've broken that leg in 3 years. You're about to be 30. We know how, unless you're a quarterback, how teams feel about players reaching the age of 30. And Earl is in the final year. He wanted that security. And, Time and I were talking about on that other show yesterday, he said,
Deion Sanders.
He's like, he feared this. He said, what you fear is what you will bring about. And I was like, I'm fearing that mega million because I'm trying to bring that about, Jen. I fear that mega million. But Skip, you can't do this. You can't let temporary frustration push you to a point where it boils over.
But what has this guy been made of?
Oh, he's been exemplary.
Chip on shoulder because he was always too little to play in high school, and the University of Texas he was too little, and he's too little, and he's too little because he's 5'10", and look what he does.
Yeah.
He was the heart and soul of the Legion of Boom.
Yes.
To me,
yes.
he was the most indispensable player.
Yes.
And I love, I don't love them all, but I respect immensely all the rest of them. Every one of them. But this guy, because you've always said, you want to talk about the deodorant, the guy who can run sideline to sideline and erase mistakes.
Cover it up.
And you can trust Richard Sherman, could always trust Earl's literally got my back.
Right.
Literally got my back, right?
Right.
And Cam could come up and just headhunt in the box because he knew Earl's got your back, right?
Correct.
And so this kid, when he was a kid, he just had, a lot of fight in him, and I'm going to show you, and he's still got a lot of fight in him, but he knows his leg is now brittle and a liability going forward. And it makes me sick, and because I'm just a Cowboy fan, and I really thought Jerry could go close the deal today to bring him to Dallas. I thought they got their game behind him now. And obviously, Jeff Heath's got a shoulder issue. I don't know how bad it's going to be going forward. They say he's going to be okay, but whatever. They need Earl Thomas. Even you admitted you put Earl Thomas on that defense, and all of a sudden you got something.
Yes.
You got something that could be a contending sort of defense, right?
Yeah, those really good safety, Skip, they have an understanding where he and Richard Sherman's like, okay, I'm gonna jump this end cut. Now, if he runs a double move, I need you to cover me over the top.
Yep.
You had that sync, that synergy that you knew what Richard was gonna do. You knew what the other corner was gonna do, and you could bail them out. Skip, I mean, it's just sad that they have all the leverage. The players are the ones at risk. And my only thing is, Skip, if I sign a 5-year contract, if you said when you release me, if I want new money, if I outperform the contract, you like, but you signed the contract.
Yep.
Well, I need you to have that same energy when I underperform the contract and not release me and say this was a business decision. Because Dez Bryant is sitting on his couch, Skip Bayless, and we know why. Because he underperformed what Jerry thought he was paying him.
Yeah. So Earl overperformed what he was going to make this year, $10 million.
Yes.
I think he deserved $14 or $15 million. So did he. And he finally said, okay, just for my teammates, those who are left, I'm going to come in.
Yes.
I'm not going to risk myself in practice. And if I have a headache, I'm not going to practice.
Right.
But I will play the game. And he played his tail off against Dallas, and then he picked off 2 passes, and he bows to the Cowboys sideline because he wanted Jerry Jones to know, if you say you're going to do the deal, go do it. Right?
Yes.
And I just love what he's made of. Again, it's not the classiest gesture, but it's just who Earl Thomas is, and I'm not going to condemn him.
But this is what the teams do. They say, do it for your teammates. Do it for the fans. Do it for the city. And players buy into that. When the team only does what's in the best interest for the team. They don't do what's in the best interest of Earl teammates because Earl teammates wanted him signed. The fans wanted Earl signed. The team will always do what's in the best interest of the team.
That's true.
Regardless of what the fans think, regardless of what the other players in that locker room think.
Well,
so
listen,
players need to think more along those lines.
Yesterday cost him, what could his bonus be?
It cost him probably $32 Probably $30 million.
$30 million. So you break the same leg and it costs you $30 million.
like that.
Boom, over, and your career is threatened now.
But but he's made that's besides the point. It's not about what he's made. He's outperformed that contract, and he's been exemplary. Everything. If somebody you draft a player, Skip, you're like, man, he's gonna be an All-Pro. He's gonna take us to we're gonna go to Super Bowls, and he's gonna be this and that. He's everything that you ask for.
Everything.
Tackle, come down in the box, cover space, cover tight ends, and it's man, I feel bad for him. But still. You can't do this. I feel bad for you, Earl. You know, I think you're a hell of a player, but you can't do this.
That part affects his brand. The NFL Network is reporting it was a clean lower leg break, so no ligament damage. So hopefully it's not as serious.
But it's just the same thing that happened before.
Yeah.
So now it looks like could happen again.
You don't want that for him. I felt horrible for the guy. I don't flip the bird often, but I almost feel like if I was in that situation.
But
you would do that?
Did.
Jenny Taft?
She almost did.
Jenny Taft would flip the bird?
Skip, I ain't going to say nothing.
If I was Earl.
Really?
Skip, I ain't going to say nothing. It's none of my business, but somebody had to check their bags, and the manager was called.
I was not happy. Don't fly with me. I get
really.
Skip, I don't know, but I'm just saying.
Jenny's got some.
It might be something on the internet.
Jenny's got some diva going.
Just not diva. My bag fit. This is a different discussion for a different day, Skip.
Were you there to witness it?
Jenny said, y'all don't want me to get Allie up in here. I'm like, what?